Hey, friends, welcome back to the Be the Bigger Person podcast. I'm Melissa, and I'm so glad you're here. Around here, we chat about faith, grief, and personal growth in that honest and vulnerable way that feels like you're just sitting down for coffee to chat with your best friend. And we all need that, let's be real. So grab your coffee and let's jump right in. Today, we are going to do a big catch up and chat about the reality of newlywed life. Because if this is your first time listening to the Be the Bigger Person podcast, first of all, welcome. Second of all, this is our season premiere. Season 4. Can we even believe it? No. The answer is no, I can't believe it. Also, if you are watching the podcast either on YouTube or on one of your favorite podcast platforms, you may notice that I'm in a new location from previous seasons. And that is because, yes, not only am I a newlywed, but I also moved across the country less than a year ago. So wild. Before we jump right into all things podcast, just do me a quick favor as you're listening to the episode. If there's something that sticks out to you that you're like, wow, that was really good, or just the episode as a whole, grab a quick screenshot on your phone as you listen and share it on social media. And be sure to tag Be the Bigger Person Pod wherever you share it. So, anyways, let's jump right in. The last time we chatted, I was engaged. I was not married yet. February 2nd, 2025, I got married. And honestly, the day was so beautiful. Okay, I'll be honest, because I always am, let's be real. I was leading up to the day, I was unsure how I would feel on the day. Like, I knew it would be amazing. I knew that I would just like have so much love and so much joy that I would be feeling. But also, if you're new around here, my mom passed away a couple of years ago. She passed away actually just over 4 years ago now, like a week ago, 4 years ago. And my mom and I like literally talked about my wedding all the time. We talked about it. Oh my gosh, like too much, probably. Like we talked about it way before Ivan and I were ever even a thing. And we just talked about all the details of just like how it would feel and how fun it would be, and little things of like, oh, we could do this, or okay, we'll do this, or you make sure to have this person do this, or just like we talked about it all the time. And my mom and I were so close that I was nervous and I was worried and I was hesitant about like what it would be like to have my wedding day without her. And I had always imagined like walking down the aisle with my mom and my dad and like looking out and seeing her face in the front row. And I was just nervous. Like I was just nervous, maybe actually is the wrong word. I feel like I was just unsure because I didn't know how I would react. And wow, we're like really just jumping right in, aren't we? I say at the beginning of every episode, but we really are. Anyways, but I think like so basically I moved to Texas. That's where I'm currently living. In December, mid-December of 2024. And then in January, I went back to Philly for like 2 weeks before our wedding. Ivan joined me for the week before the wedding. And I just wanted to like get stuff together and, all of that. And I I just was really letting myself like feel whatever I was going to feel. Now, the only thing I would not allow myself to feel was stressed, because I was like, this is what I kept saying to people. I have gone through too much grief and too much sadness and too much hardship in the last 4 years that I will not allow any of that to creep in to my wedding. I was like, I want to have fun. I want to have like the most joyful time. And that is what my intention was. And I actually did a really good job. Like, not to say that there weren't stressful moments. There was like people drama. There was not a lot of it, actually, thankfully. There was like things where I was like, oh my gosh, did we pick the right vendors? What if they're the worst? And they haven't been. So that's great. But like, I just wanted to have a really beautiful time and I wanted to have fun. I wanted to like be so present in all of it. I wanted to like just like enjoy, like, oh, I'm folding programs, I'm loving this, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm putting together goodie bags, like I love this. Anyways, so Friday night before the wedding, our wedding was on a Sunday because hashtag Judaism, which all of you that are in like churches and all that probably feel like, oh, I could never get married on a Sunday because hashtag Christianity. And I'm like, well, yeah, we can't get married on a Saturday because hashtag Judaism. It's all fun, right? Anyway, so we were getting married on a Sunday, and the Friday night, like Friday, my brother and sister-in-law and their kids came in. Ivan's parents came in. A couple of my bridesmaids who live out of town were coming in, and we were actually getting married like an hour away from where my family lives in Pennsylvania. And anyway, so we're all getting in, like my sister-in-law, my niece and I were getting our nails done, and like there was just like it just felt really surreal. And there were little things. I think something that I talk about a lot with friends and such is it's really obvious that when something really good and really like God given is about to happen, the enemy tries to hit really hard. And you may not even notice it until you're like, what the heck is happening? And then you're like, oh. And that was just I think we all were feeling that. Like there was a lot happening. And I think we were just all feeling that. And so Ivan and I and my brother Josh were driving to the town where we were getting married. Josh completely knocked out. Josh falls asleep in like every car ride. So he fell asleep. And Ivan and I just spent the entire drive just like praising God that we were able to get married, just like really proclaiming the goodness of God, the testimony that our relationship and our marriage is, and just like kind of as serious and severe as this may sound to some, like just really rebuking the enemy's tactics and really like just saying like that the enemy like has no foothold. Like we were not going to allow the enemy to have any place in the weekend. We were like, we pray that everyone will just step up to the plate, that there will be joy, like that everything will work. We were like, we pray that, it wouldn't rain. We pray that the vendors would all show up the way they need to. Like we just prayed so specifically about all of it. And I feel like that was a really beautiful time because everything that like we like all of the prep and all of anything that was sort of happening in the prep period of things was like almost left behind as we were driving, and any like stress or drama or anything was just like left behind. And we just went into that weekend just feeling so grateful, feeling so trusting of what God was doing, and just like really recognizing that our love story is a testimony for God's goodness. And we just like knew, and we were praying into the fact that the wedding and the weekend would be like bigger than us. Like it would be something that encouraged people. It brought people so much joy. Like that's what we were praying into. And also that it would like let people see God. Like we wanted this to be something where it was like, it is so clear that God is the one who orchestrated our relationship and our marriage in the way that he did. And like, we wanted that to be so evident. So anyway, so we just like drove to the town, like just praying the whole way and like blasting worship music. And it was like perfect. Like that's what we needed. Anyways, we get there, a bunch of friends who had gotten into town already. We all went out and got pizza. And it was just like, it felt so unreal. Like, I was like, am I really? People were like, hey, bride. And I was like, who? Oh, me. Oh, it's my wedding weekend. Like, it was just so surreal. Like, I didn't believe it one bit. It did not sink in. And that's what I will say to like those of you that are getting married, those of you like when that day comes, like, it just may not feel real for a long time. Like there's a part of me that I think it felt real when they were like, all right, it's time to walk down the aisle. And I was like, oh, it's happening. Anyways, so that was really great. We got in our hotels, blah, 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 like, the whole nine. Saturday morning, we had our rehearsal, which was just like, again, it was so surreal. We're like taking all of our supplies in. We like dropped all the supplies off ahead of time. And then we had the rehearsal at our venue, which was so beautiful, so beautiful. And we like are practicing. We're like practicing everybody walking down the aisle. And I was like, I think that's also partially when it hit me. I was like, oh, it was just so wild, the whole thing. And it was just so like, I just couldn't stop smiling. And I'm like, And then our coordinator was like, "Do you want to practice walking down like with your bouquet?" Because we had actually shout out to there's a company called Something Borrowed Blooms. There's a fly flying in front of me. They make these beautiful faux flowers that literally you would never be able to tell were not real flowers. And they are like literally I priced out. I did a lot of research for the wedding and I did a lot of planning and prep and all of that. If you guys want like a very extensive wedding spreadsheet that even our venue was like, wow, this is the best planning spreadsheet I've ever seen in my life. Hit me up in the DMs. I'll send it to you. But I priced out like all the flowers and everything. And Something Borrowed Blooms was like literally a third of the price of flowers, maybe even more, like maybe even less than that. It was, and they were gorgeous. Actually, if you're watching, you can see my flowers. I rented all of the flowers, like all of the bridesmaids bouquets, all of the boutonnieres, all the corsages, and like we had like what are they called? Uh um garlands, like with flower garlands, but I bought my bouquet so I didn't have to return it and it's right up there laying on its side. Um and just cuz I wanted to kind of like keep that for forever and I just love it. Um but anyway, so like I went to grab my bouquet cuz it was there and I was like, oh, this is wild. Like this is wild. Like how is this happening? Anyways, so that was really fun. And we just like all went out to lunch after. We went to this big food hall that had a bunch of really cool vendors. Like they had like a Venezuelan place, a Mediterranean place. They had a German place. I even got this like huge German pretzel that was like bigger than the size of his head. Um, Anyways, it was just fun. Like it was just that's when I think it started little by little to feel real. It was never this one moment that was like, whoa, this is happening. It was little moments that were like everyone's just sitting around and we're all chatting. All these people from all facets of our lives are just sitting around and chatting and getting to know each other. Like two of our really good girlfriends were chatting with Ivan's two cousins, like it was just so like, it was just great. Like I just loved it. And anyways, and then it was fun. Like we just, I think everyone kind of went and did their own thing. I just needed to kind of shut my brain off. And so I went back to my hotel room. One of my best friends, Miriam, who was my matron of honor, came with me and she just like helped me pack some things. And we just like both needed a nap. So we laid in my bed and for a little bit, we're just chatting and we were like, is this real? Like, I was just sort of processing the whole thing. Like it was so beautiful. Then I took a great nap and just like turned my brain off. And I think I needed that from all the socialization that I had done in the morning. That's what I'm learning about myself. I just sometimes need to turn my brain off. And then she left, and I started getting ready for the rehearsal dinner. And this was the moment that it hit me that my mom was not there. And honestly, it came with so many emotions. Like it came with well, I'll tell you what happened. So I'm starting to like do my hair, put my makeup on, just like I'm kind of glad I was by myself. Like I'm actually really grateful that I got some time the day before the wedding by myself. Um, and even like the night before, like I just stayed by myself and I was like, I'm kind of glad I did that. But I was getting ready and I had put on worship music. And first I put on Praise by Brandon Lake and I was like jamming out to that. I was like having the best time. And then I put on, it was just like on shuffle. And then the song Goodness of God by CeCe Winans came on, which woof. First of all, CeCe Winans can literally like she is probably going to be singing at the gates of heaven because that woman has the Holy Spirit on her, like for reals. And but also Goodness of God um, my mom passed when my mom passed away, it was a Thursday. And that Saturday at our service, our synagogue, the worship team played Goodness of God. And afterwards, our rabbi's wife, who is our worship leader, I had texted her that I was just like weeping listening to the song. And she said they all were thinking of my mom as they were singing it because the lyrics just like all my life you have been faithful, all my life you have been so good. Like that was just my mom's mentality. My mom just loved the Lord so much. And she just was so faithful to him and he was so faithful to her. And anyway, so that song has always really held a spot in my heart where whenever I hear it, I think of my mom and just also my own life, like just having gone through so much. And so that the song comes on and I just started weeping. Like there is this, what I call the grief cry. It is a type of like sobbing, guttural cry that I've only known in grief. I've only done in grief. And it's like a hysterical, guttural cry, just like letting all of it out almost. And I just sat on the edge of my bed and just sobbed. I just did this grief cry and it was so much about I wish my mom was here. Um like I was so I just wished that she was there. There was so much of me that was just in such disbelief. Like, oh, I've known all along that I would have to do my wedding without my mom, but like now I actually have to, you know? And there was just so much of like the things that knew she was missing out on and that I wish she was there for. And all these things you think about with a wedding that a girl and her mom, especially when, you know, you're so close, someone's so close with their mom, like you just think about. And I was just grieving all of that. And I was also just like, there was so much about it that my mom, I know, prayed so much for my future husband and prayed so much for my marriage and prayed like I know that my mom like prayed Ivan into my life pretty much. And like I know she even said, I think I said this before on the podcast, she said to my rabbi's wife, who's like a mentor to me and to my dad, like way before Ivan and I were ever dating. I think this was like during COVID. She was like, I wish Melissa would like Ivan. I just know she doesn't. And so there's that. Like, I just know that she loved Ivan and would have been so thrilled by us getting married. And I was just feeling so much gratitude. Just so much gratitude for her prayers and how like present that I knew she would be. Um, even if I wished more than that she would be present physically. Um, it was just one of those moments where I was just like, Mom, I did it, you know, like, and like there was I just knew I just had this like awareness that there was so much of the reason why I was able to get to this point of being able to like confidently and healthily walk into marriage and like navigate the last 4 years in the way that I have and just like my whole life in the way that I have and about to like the reason that I was about to become the wife to Ivan that I am was because of her influence and her impact and her like speaking into my life and um her modeling and being an example of a wife and her prayers over me and like all of this, I was just having this recognition that like it was this like on the one hand, on the other hand, like on the one hand, I would have given anything to have her there with me. I would have given anything to just like hear her voice and have her button up my dress and get her hair and makeup done with me and all of that. And also on the other hand, I just recognized that like this day probably would have never been possible without her. And just the fact that I knew how many prayers she had prayed for me and how much she and her impact and her influence got me to this day. And I just had this full like range of feeling about it all that it was so overwhelming in a terrible way and in the best way. And I just sat on my bed and sobbed and just had this gratitude moment to my mom, to the Lord, like just all of it. And then the song ends and I get up and I'm like, oof, you know, my gosh. And I like turn the corner to where the mirror is and I look at my face and I had done my mascara. One side I did it with non-waterproof makeup and I was like, oh, that's a terrible idea. And so then for my other eye, I did it with waterproof mascara. And on the side where I didn't use waterproof, it was like all smudged down here. And on this side, it was like nothing. And I sobbed, like buckets of tears came out of my eyes. And so I just looked in the mirror and just started laughing because I was like, oh, the waterproof mascara really works. And I also just had this moment. I remember when I was in middle school and having a really tough time with like social stuff and bullies and all that. My dad would tell me, we had a water fountain at school that was like made of metal. And so it was like pretty reflective, but because it's a water fountain, it kind of distorted, like you wouldn't look at yourself and see yourself clearly. It would kind of be like a funhouse museum, funhouse mirror. And I just like my dad would always tell me, like, look at yourself when you're feeling sad, look at yourself in that water fountain and like it'll make you laugh because, you'll look so crazy. And I just had this like thought of that. And then also just the fact of like my mom would always say, when things were really sad and really somber and really serious, she would say, sometimes you just need to laugh. And so I had both of those thoughts running in my head as I looked in this mirror and I looked crazy because one side of my face had the waterproof mascara, so it had nothing. And the other side was like black down here. Anyways, and I just thought that was like such a perfect moment, like just a perfect way to just make me smile and laugh. And I was just like, I just knew the Lord was so in that. And I just also was so grateful that I had that moment of it all hitting me when it did. Like it kind of, if there was a perfect moment for grief to hit you the weekend of your wedding, it was that moment because it wasn't like 5 minutes before the ceremony. It wasn't like as I was walking down the aisle, which honestly I was very much afraid of. And it was like I was then about to go and have a rehearsal dinner with so many of the people we love so dearly. And I just felt like it was that was the Lord knew that that was the right moment for this like outpouring of grief to happen. And not that I didn't have little moments of grief before that, but it was like the dam had broken and opened and like all the water came out. And I like was like, okay, I was sort of waiting for that moment. I haven't even said the same thing. He was like, I was sort of waiting for that to happen. And I'm glad that it happened when it did. And I was like, me too. So, anyways, I noted waterproof mascara on the day of the wedding. I fixed this side of my face. And um, anyways, and then I got dressed and like, we all went over to the rehearsal dinner and it was so beautiful. Ivan's parents, especially his mom, just did such a great job with decor, with flowers, with setting it all up. It was just so beautiful. And we signed our ketubah. So for those of you that aren't familiar, a ketubah is a Jewish marriage contract, like a Jewish marriage license. They're often really beautiful, like designs. And it has like a sort of a proclamation of, promises and like it's sort of like a between you and the Lord type of like wedding contract in a way. And so we had like at our rehearsal dinner before everyone began, like everyone was just socializing and it was just fun, like everyone coming in and seeing people that, there was a couple people that couldn't make it for the morning. And so they were there for the night and for the rehearsal dinner. And then we had like our rabbi kind of like signed it and the ketubah and both of our dads, my dad and Ivan's dad signed it. And then me and Ivan signed it. And it was just really beautiful to like everyone to be there. And my dad, read through the Hebrew of it, which was special. And then we were just chatting, like everyone had dinner. The dinner was great. We all were just hanging out and chatting and everyone was there. And then it was like, so this was actually another thing. We had so many people coming in from out of town and I really, really wanted an opportunity. They all were traveling so far to be with us. I mean, we had people coming from literally all over the country. And even a couple from Canada. And we just wanted a chance to be able to spend time with the people. I mean, we want to spend time with everybody, but especially those that were traveling so far and, putting in a lot of miles and finances and all of that to be there. We wanted to be able to spend time with them rather than just a quick hello at the wedding. And so we basically told everybody that was coming in from out of town and anyone that we thought might be there Saturday night that we were going to have like at the hotel that we all were staying at, like just in the lobby, there was like a little bar and a lounge area. And we were like, anyone that wants to come, just come and hang. Like, we're going to be there at this time. Just come and hang. And it was like, I loved that. I loved that we got to have such quality time with our friends, our family that came in from out of town. Like, before it all began, because that I just loved that time. And it was also fun because there were some of my family members that Ivan hadn't met yet. And so he got to meet them. They got to meet him. Like that was just really fun and special. Yeah, I loved that time. Like people always say, like, go to bed early on your wedding day. And I'm like, I wanted to make them like, or the night before your wedding. I'm like, I wanted to make the most of that moment. Like, I don't think I got back to my room until 11. And I was like, I did not care one bit. I was adrenaline out the wazoo. Like it was the best. That was just so much fun. And to just have just a social time for everyone to hang out. And oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. And then it was the day of the wedding. Like the day of the wedding was, people say it goes by in a blur, and they are right. My encouragement to you, if you are going to be getting married soon or just to store away for the future, be so present in every moment. Like, don't think to yourself, and this is actually advice my mom gave me when I was 13, right before my bat mitzvah. She said, don't think, oh, I can't wait for this or I can't wait for this, because it'll rob you of being present in that moment, in the moment you're in right now. And so that's what I did. I just was like, oh gosh, I love this. I love, I just was so into it all. And I loved, like, all the girls came to my room I got like a hotel suite, and we did our hair and makeup together, and we had breakfast in Starbucks and like steamed dresses together. And it was just fun. Like it was so fun. And honestly, those are the memories that I will store away in my brain forever. I'm just like being with the girls. Ivan's mom was there. My niece was there. We had our hair and makeup getting done. Like it was just fun. And we had music going, and oh, I loved it. I loved it. We were all in PJs. Like it was just so sweet and so special. And then I like got dressed. Two of my best friends, Miriam and Leah, who are my matron of honor, my maid of honor, got like helped me into my dress. And that was just really special because, again, that was something I'd always envisioned doing with my mom. And the two of them have been like so by my side through every up and every down in life. And like, I was like, yeah, 100%. Like those are the two that I want in there, buttoning me up and, putting in my veil. And Leah literally just kept going, don't look at me. I can't cry yet. Like it was just great. Like I loved it. And, anyway, so we did that, and then we're off to the wedding. We did pictures ahead of time, which we went back and forth on, but we wanted to be able to just enjoy cocktail hour. We wanted to be able to like actually get some food in us, which we didn't get as much as we thought. We thought we were going to get a full meal for Ivan and I just to eat privately during cocktail hour. We didn't end up getting a full meal. We ended up getting appetizers, which we were kind of bummed about. That was the one thing we were bummed about. We thought we were going to get a full meal during cocktail hour. We didn't. It survived. We survived. But anyways, we did the pictures ahead of time. We did like a first look. We did all that. I also just recognized the walk down the aisle was going to be emotional, as is, just being what it was. And also without my mom there, that I was like, I can't also add in seeing Ivan for the first time. I will lose it. Like I will be in a puddle in the middle of the aisle on the floor. So he agreed, and we did a first look, which was just so special. And then we did like a first look. I did one with my dad, and that was really sweet. And Ivan did one with his parents, and then we just did all of our like pictures together, pictures with bridal party. Like we just had like the best bridal party. And I'm just so grateful. We actually had one groomsmen and one bridesmaids who couldn't be there. And it just didn't feel full without them, because we just have like, I had 9 bridesmaids. He had 9 groomsmen, including the 2 that weren't able to be there. And those 18 people, I just love so much. And I wouldn't have taken anyone away, added anyone. Like it was just perfect. Before we go any further, let's talk about something special. In case you didn't know, my brother Josh has Down syndrome, and I'm always, literally always, looking for a way to share about him, about Down syndrome, and about our life as a Down syndrome family with others. Throughout my years as an elementary and special education teacher, I was kind of unfortunately surprised by how few books there were that both taught kids about Down syndrome in a way that was age appropriate and not just a science textbook, with also having an engaging story that featured someone with Down syndrome as the main character. So I decided to fill that gap and write a book of my own using my master's degree in special education and my 30 plus years as a Down syndrome sister. The ups and downs of a very special superhero shares with kids and really readers of all ages what Down syndrome is, what characteristics people with Down syndrome often possess, what life with someone who has Down syndrome looks like, and how they can be superheroes too through speaking up for what's right. This book will prompt your kids to ask questions and will give you the answers to guide the conversations, and will empower you and your kids to be leaders for change and for kindness in the disability space. Because the more you understand, the better you will be. And what better way to do that than through storytelling that represents more inclusive characters and families? To get a copy for your family, your classroom, or your friends, head to Special Ups and Downs. That's Special UPS and Downs.com, or use the link below in my episode notes. Now, back to our episode. And then we had the wedding. Like the wedding, gosh, I could go into so many details. I will spare you all the gory details, but it was just so, the word that people kept using was, it was so joyful. Like somebody posted and they were like, this was the most joyful wedding I've ever been to. And even one of our friends came up to Ivan at the reception and they were like, I've never seen a more joyful groom. Like we were just having, I think the thing was about it was that was so beautiful was it was so full of joy and happiness, and like even beyond happiness. I don't even want to say happiness because it was just full of joy, like true, pure joy. And it was so clear that like God has put us together and that there was a testimony of God's goodness, which has been like my prayer through the whole thing. And it just felt so us. Like it felt so us. And I walked down the aisle to Pachelbel's Canon, which was the wedding song that my parents walked down the aisle to. And we did personal vows, which a couple people told us were like, those were really well written. And we were like, thank you. But they were just so from our heart. I think our story is so unique in so many ways. If you haven't heard our story, by the way, I have a whole podcast episode about that. I think it's episode 57. I can, if you DM me, I can send it to you. But yeah, like we also, there's a tradition in Jewish weddings where it's called the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings. And there's 7 blessings that are either sung or spoken over the bride and groom. They're really just so beautiful. And a lot of people you'll notice, and if you've ever seen Jewish weddings or been to one, you'll notice that the bride will walk around the groom and circle the groom 7 times. And a lot of times that will happen like when she first walks up the aisle, she then walks around him 7 times. And then the 7 blessings are done later. And I just always loved the notion. I actually saw it at a friend's wedding. I love the notion that the Hebrew is sung, and then the corresponding English is spoken by somebody who's like a mentor or an influence like in the couple's life as the woman, the bride, circles the groom. And so what we did was we had a good friend of ours do the Hebrew, sing the Hebrew. He did it incredibly, like so beautifully. And then we had my dad, Ivan's mom and dad. We had my rabbi's wife, Debbie. We had a really good friend of ours, David, who Ivan looks up to so much. And then we had our rabbi here in Texas do 6 of the 7 blessings. My rabbi from Philly was officiating, doing the ceremony. And then we actually had the 7th. We had the the Hebrew sung, and then the English, for the English part, we had it in the programs, but we just had everyone read it silently to themselves and had like a moment of silence in honor of my mom. This was actually Ivan's idea. What a blessing he is. And I just thought that was really, I loved that because, of course, if my mom was there, she would have been one of the blessings, like one of the readers. And so, yeah, I loved that. I thought that was so perfect. It felt very heavy, but in a really beautiful way of honoring her. We also had, I have a picture of it up on my Instagram. We put up a framed picture of her in what would have been her seat. Cause and put like a mother's corsage with it. The same one that Ivan's mom was wearing. And I just always said I wanted to be able to look out in the audience at my wedding and see my mom's face. Like I just dreaded the thought that I wouldn't be able to look out and see her face. And so being able to look out and see her face there, like that just meant so much to me. Um, so yeah, that was one of the things we did. It was just I loved our ceremony. I loved every bit of it. My dad built our chuppah, which is like a Jewish, like a covering. The couple will stand under the chuppah, during the ceremony. And, my dad built it for us, which was so special. And then like a true, just really good true millennials, when they said, you may now, I now pronounce to you Ivan and Melissa, and the song "Hey Now, This Is What Dreams Are Made Of" from the the Lizzie McGuire movie started playing. And first of all, also, by the way, that was Ivan's choice. That was Ivan's idea. He knows his stuff. He knows his pop culture. He knows his chick flicks, and I love it. And he's also a good true millennial. And so, yeah, we started walking out to "Hey Now, This Is What Dreams Are Made Of." Like, I was like, this is so perfect. So perfect. Anyways, and then we had cocktail hour, and we had our reception, and we just had like the best time. Like, it was so joyful and so good. And we had a bunch of speeches, which were all amazing. My dad, Ivan's dad, my older brother, Michael, he kind of spoke almost on behalf of my mom, which was really special. That was his idea. And then Miriam and Leah, and then Ivan's best man, Chris. And then we just danced the night away. Like, it was so much fun. I just loved every minute of it. Like, there was just so much about it where I think this was the wedding that we had always like planned for and thought about. And even down to, so anyone that's listening who's from the South probably knows that there's this tradition in the South where you have the regular cake, which is like, 3-tiered or whatever cake, and that's the bride's cake. And then you also have a groom's cake, which is something like more personal and like sort of a super special designed cake about like for the groom. And that was often chocolate. Well, when we were planning our wedding, and I was so unaware of this tradition, not being from the South, and Ivan was like, "Are you kidding me? You've never heard of this?" I was like, "No, I've never heard of this." And I really wanted a donut wall. I could like kind of take or leave the cake, to be honest. And so he was kind of like, "You know what? I've always dreamed of having a groom's cake, but because your thing is kind of the donut wall," which was also delicious. He was like, "The cake that we have will kind of be my groom's cake." And he was like, "I'm totally fine with that." I was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yes." So then I thought about it, and I was like, "No, we can't have that." So I started planning to surprise him. Ivan went to Texas A&M, and any of you Aggies out there or familiar with people who are Aggies know that it is a slight cult in the best way. Like, people from that go to Texas A&M that are Aggies are like very passionate about it. And also people from Texas are very passionate about being Texan, and I love it. I think it's great. And so I started secretly. I contacted a local baker who does these like fabulous cakes and all of that. Cakeology in Lancaster. So if you're in the Lancaster area, you can look her up because she's amazing. And had a surprise cake that was in the shape of Texas, and it had a Texas A&M logo on it, and it was Texas maroon. And Ivan had no clue until we had our regular cake. We cut our regular cake. It was beautiful. And then I grabbed the mic from our DJ, and I was like, I told this whole story, and I was like, "All right, bring out the cake." I was like, "Ivan, you couldn't go without a groom's cake." And he was like, he truly had no idea. Like, I got him so good. Nobody knew about it except for me, Miriam, our videographer, and our DJ. Oh, and our venue. Nobody knew about it. Like, no attendees. And it was chef's kiss. It was brilliant. I was giddy thinking about it. Ivan loved it. Yeah, it was just so good. And then we danced the night away, and then we did our exit, and we went and left. And honestly, like, I was driving away from that just being like, that was the best wedding. Like, that was amazing. Like, I would go back and relive that in a heartbeat and do everything the same. Like, it was so perfect. Everything about the day, I just loved. I loved the whole day. Yeah. And it was so full of joy. I'm so grateful that we just like prayed our way in to the day. Yeah. And so now we're married. And I'm going to probably do a whole separate episode about like marriage and what I've learned about marriage. Maybe I'll even rope Ivan in. But I'll say this. And actually Ivan says this. This is his line that he and it's perfect. It's so true. He's like, marriage is the best blessing and better than I could have ever asked for. And it's hard. And that's true. Like, marriage is hard. We have had to communicate about a lot of things about, we're like living together now and just the rhythms that come from this space now being our space. And even just routines. Like, we're both just saying, like, it just feels, we work all day and then it just feels hard to like, how are we supposed to get anything else done? Like, we come home, we make dinner, and then it's like, we want to go to bed. And it's like, we have to do laundry. We want to veg out. We want to watch a show. We want to have a date night. We want to talk to other friends. We're like, how do we do any of this? How do we have time? So it's just figuring out those rhythms and figuring out those routines. And I think just giving ourselves, like, that is one of the things that someone told me early on in engagement was like, thinking about marriage, you give yourself so much grace beyond the timeline of what you think you should, like, to figure out marriage and to figure out your rhythms and your routines and to figure out like just like the way that you communicate about things, to figure out sex and intimacy. And that has been such a blessing because I think it has taken the pressure off of like, oh, we have to figure this all out. Like right now, we're however many months into marriage and we just have to figure it out. And it's just allowed us to like have fun in the process of like, okay, yeah, we've only been married X amount of weeks or X amount of months or, and it's fine. Like, we're figuring this out and we're making progress. Like, we have never been married before. We're figuring it out. And it's just been fun. Like, it's been really good. There's so many things that I have realized, and that's why I want to do like a whole episode on this, but there's so many things that God has really shown me in marriage that I'm like, I did not realize how God was going to use marriage to fill spaces in my life that I didn't even realize were empty. And so the next episode I'm going to do, stay tuned, in 2 weeks, is going to be about marriage and what I've learned about marriage and what I thought marriage was going to be that it's not, and what I didn't know marriage was going to be that it is. So yeah, it has been such a blessing. Marriage already has been a blessing. It has been a lot of growth, a lot of learning, and also just a beautiful, beautiful thing, like a beautiful thing. So, and just like that, season 4 is off and running. I cannot wait to continue to catch up and chat. In the next episode, we're going to chat all things marriage, and I'm going to give you guys the nitty gritty that I have learned that I'm not sure anybody else is talking about in the way that we are going to. So stay tuned. It'll again be like we're sitting down for coffee and I'm like, let me tell you all about marriage. So thank you guys for being around. If you have not yet, go ahead and follow Be the Bigger Person Pod on Instagram and Facebook. And also make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your pods. And that way, honestly, if you're subscribed, it just takes the guesswork out of it. It will notify you and just tell you whenever a new episode is out. So make sure you follow and click the notification bell so that you never miss an episode. And I will see you around. See you on the next episode of Be the Bigger Person podcast.